guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. How's it going, everybody? Happy Monday. We made it through another weekend, back to another week, you guys. Welcome, everybody. You guys all know the drill. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. Everybody, today is, oh my goodness, it's just so much. Cassidy, Mama Fritz, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you. And all the other folks that are here, new people, old people, crime crew, mods. Thank you guys for being here. Sweetie, good to see you. Foxy, as always. We got the Foxy box today. Let's just get into, let me sum up what we're going to talk about today. As you know, we are talking about Jen Soto, and there is a creator that everybody's messaging me named Truth Revealed, and it's going to go back and he's going to do the deception detective thing where Jennifer Soto explains where the dumped body is. Now, the problem is the dumped body is Madeline Soto. All right. So we're going to break this down, and we are going to break down Jen Soto's statements, and hopefully after we talk about Jen quite a bit extensively today, and as we go through hashtag arrest Jen Soto, she's going to be Jen Soto, Stephanie Soto, the whole Soto family is going to be like wanting to speak. They probably won't, but you guys, I got to tell you, okay, so number one, yes, I've been talking with Deb Stearns. Number two, you guys gave me questions. She's answering them. Now, this is going to be much different than hidden true crime, because with hidden true crime, they just said, say whatever you want. And I think Chris and Deb were kind of just going back and forth with what people were saying about them, the things they heard. I'm not going to do that. My questions are very pointed. Your questions are very pointed. I don't want to know about Stephen Stearns. I want to know about Maddie, Madeline Soto. I want to know about Jen Soto, how Jen was with Maddie, how Jen was with Stephen. I have very clear points, and you guys are helping me because I'm going to show you. I posted a post, and she's reading those right now. I sent over a document, and let me show you this. So and I gotta say, most of you guys, thank you guys so much for the kind words and the loving, sweet. You don't need to be loving and sweet, but the people that are, you guys are human. Now, there's a lot of people in here that are not so human, that come to me and they want to try to attack me. It's not going to work. You know, if Stephen Stearns wanted an interview, I would give him one. And let me tell you a little secret, you guys. Plunder applied to get an interview with Stephen. She applied at the jail to get an in-person interview with Stephen, and he declined. How do I know that? Well, Deb told me that Plunder, she knows Plunder and all the other ones that come out with everything. So Stephen Stearns obviously doesn't want to interview. He's going to go to trial. There's no way he's going to go on Plunder and give her an interview. Most godliest woman on YouTube, Plunder, he doesn't want to do that interview. And how can you crucify someone that's into true crime for wanting to know the truth? right? How do you do that? I want to know the truth. I came on here to talk about originally serial killers and how their mind works. But I would do an interview with Stefan if he ever wanted to, and I certainly want to hear what his parents have to say when we're giving, especially when we're giving pointed questions. And the pointed questions are, let me just show you guys a little bit, and then we're going to do this. We're going to open a Foxy box real quick, and if you guys stay here and you're a member, you can win a Foxy box. You're going to have 3 chances today. All right. What's up, Randy B? Good to see everybody. I'm trying to make this as positive experience and as many people that are human as possible, right? So I go on here and I put, hey, we got a new merch. And someone goes on there and says, that's disgusting that Guilty of Crime is putting new merch up. Wait a minute. I'm not just putting new merch up. I'm putting it up and then giving it away to you guys. What's disgusting about that? So if you guys see haters coming around, ignore them. We're going to just delete their comments because we're here for Madeline Soto. And I do have some answers for you today that none of you guys would know if I weren't talking to Deb. We got answers about Jen and why Jen was so quick to let the people that interviewed her call Stefan Stearns her husband because she wanted him to be her husband, but he wasn't asking. Okay, there's a lot of things about this. Then I go on and I show my cute dog, right? I'm showing my cute dog, and someone tells me, put a sweater on her. Like, I just got her a haircut and I'm taking a cute pic. Of course I got a sweater. Bowie, where you at, my girl? Of course. That's like if I see you running around with your kid in a diaper and I say, why don't you get some clothes on your kid? Come on, guys, think about it a little more. Yes, there's awesome merch. I just gave the mods are official. This is the official Guilty of Crime Mod Crew t-shirt. So if any of you ever become a mod, you're going to get a Mod Crew t-shirt. We're giving stuff away. Yeah. So anyway, we got to try to keep this up because, I do my best to bring what I have, but it really gets tiresome. All right, now here it is. There is literally 13 pages of questions that you guys asked for, and I've gotten it over to her. So at least 77 of the questions, that's a lot. 141 comments, 77 questions, made it. Now let me clear this up real quick. So anybody that says anything, I'm not supporting Stefan Stearns. Stefan Stearns is on trial. He's going to be on trial, and that's what we're doing. We want justice for Maddie. This has nothing to do with Stefan. We want to know about Maddie and about Jen. We already know about Stefan. He's waiting. He's waiting his turn, right? All right. And we're going to give away a 420 membership in another 10 days. So yeah, 13 pages of questions that you guys asked for. All right. So you want Deb to explain the dynamics of Stefan and Jen's relationship. I could answer that one real quick, and then we'll get into that. All right. Your mailbox. Okay. Did Sweetie say she doesn't have her shirt yet? Can we call her Maddie? Yes, I am calling her Maddie. Jen calls her the body, and we're going to get into that. Okay. So just a little bit for you, so you guys could know, Jen Soto, man, Jen Soto, you guys all say, why didn't she protect her baby? She was never going to protect Maddie, you guys. She was never going to protect Maddie. She's a dark hole of depression. She's a dark hole of neediness. And with Maddie, it kept Stefan doing what she wanted him to do. All right. When Stefan wasn't with her, she actually kept him on FaceTime walking around so she can see everything he was doing, as I suspected, you guys. I've been saying that. I've been saying the puppet master. You guys, the day ones and all the people that are here know that I've been calling Jen the puppet master. Jen is, in my opinion, and Deb says this woman is intrusive and controlling with Stefan. If she said jump, he would ask how high. I believe now she says she believes Jen is behind all this. I believe she has a lot to do with this. She isn't dumb, but she does a great job of playing it. Hard luck, victim, tough, poor me. I have a bad back. I'm bipolar. I don't like my meds, so I won't take them. I have a young child. I can't do what I want. I can't sleep. I got to stay high. I can't work. Deb never bought the act. Maybe that's why she didn't want to spend more time with them. But she also plopped down on the couch, you guys, and you'd be disgusted by this. She plopped down on the couch and told Deb that she wants Stefan to put a ring on it. All right. So she says, put a ring on it. What do you think about putting a ring on it? And Deb says she wasn't thrilled. She says, who does that? Who does that? One time she wanted to get married, and the next time she said, hell no, I'm not getting married. I don't want to lose my benefit and my welfare. Maddie's benefits and her welfare. So she also said that they were married like a common law couple. All right. So then of course mom steps in and says, hey, do you guys have separate bank accounts, etc., because Jen is very intrusive in his stuff and puppet mastering the show, which I've been saying from the get-go. Now, it doesn't matter what perspective we're getting this from. I've said that from day one. All right. So as far as that, no wonder she didn't correct those people, the interviewers. She didn't correct law enforcement. She's like, go ahead, that's my husband, my hubby, I'm the wife, my boyfriend. She in fact isn't and wasn't, and she wanted to be, guys. All right. So if she's so repulsed, she knew what was going on. She knew. And Stefan didn't live with his parents recently, and they weren't around too much because Jen wanted to keep Maddie isolated. She wanted not only Maddie to be isolated, but she wanted Maddie and Stefan to be isolated so she could do what she wants. All right. What's up, guys? Good to see you, Donna Clark. Welcome. Marcy, thank you. I definitely need the hugs. So yeah, there's things. I mean, there's just so much, guys. There's so much. All right, that's just a little taste of it. I also wanted to clarify. I didn't know for sure. I've never heard it, like the real story. And I asked, is Chris Stefan's dad, in fact, was he ever a freaking officer? All right, was he ever an officer, and what was the extent? And I wanted to know. So I found out Chris was a Orange County, Florida, Orlando patrolman. He wasn't a detective. He was not at a desk. He was out in a patrol car. He didn't interview suspects. He wrote speeding tickets. One time there was a violent crime that happened, and this was during this was in the 70s, guys. All right, this was in the 70s. Now Deb was trained too, but Chris did carry a gun, cuffs, ticket book, all that kind of stuff, and I think Deb is saying she did too. I mean, both of them were, back in the 70s, pretty badass, way back then. But now it's a different story. Right now it's like Jeffrey Dahmer. Once Jeffrey Dahmer came out, everybody was attacking Lyle. So that being said, let's get going. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Hashtag justice for Maddie. And everybody that's here supporting me, continue to do so. If you're not here to support me and my channel, go ahead and just leave, guys, because I don't need any of that. I have a lot on my plate. You guys know I work all day. On my weekends, I enjoy off, and then I don't really need to be getting hate messages or hate whatever. I'm trying to help everybody understand this by answering your questions. All right. I see all these questions, and I appreciate you guys so much. If Deb saw Jen Soto today, what would she say? I blame Jennifer. She called Stefan up. All these questions are from you guys. All right. So I put them, not, I didn't do it. Tiff, our new mod, did that for you guys. She put it together and I sent it here. I sent it to her. Okay. Sorry. All right. So, that being said, let's start off with positive, fresh. Let me get if you're a hater and you smell like old fish, get out of here, because I really want you guys to either support my channel in my endeavors or don't, and just leave, because I don't need that. And like I said, I came on here because serial killers and killers in general fascinate me. I've studied them for years, and you're damn sure right. I would interview a serial killer or anybody, any kind of criminal. I want to know what they think, what they know. What's up, Stevie Glenn? Good to see you, my friend. They like their prescription meds and Maddie on hers so they can drug her. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Lori. Millie, if you're not here to support Jay, you can get out. Exactly. Let's start off on a happy note. Let's open a Foxy box so you finally know what a Foxy box is. And then I'm not just opening and doing merch for myself. I'm doing it so we can build this community of soldiers, of people that have each other's back, people that care about each other and make each other feel safe. I don't want bullies here. Bullying doesn't work with me, all right? I can't be bullied. I'm not going to be bullied. All right, we like Jay, no haters. Thank you. I refuse to be bullied, and I won't be, and you won't get my time. So, that being said, let's open the Foxy box. Stay here. We're going to give out a Guilty of Crime membership, and we'll give out some Foxy boxes at the end of the show. This is just a thanks for being part of our community, along with the merchandise. All right. Merchandise is so we can build our community of people that are together like one. And I'm giving this stuff away because I want you guys to have it. Thank you, Jay, for doing this. We really appreciate it. Want to know what happened to Maddie? And so do I. I've been saying this the whole time, guys. And we're going to get into that with Jen Soto calling Maddie the body. We're going to get into that. But I've been doing this the whole time. And in special thanks, the potato is sponsoring this show. So we got a potato sponsoring the show and 3 mini potatoes to sponsor our show today. All right. So our show is sponsored by potatoes and more potatoes. And thanks to Tiff, our new merch girl, and Mod and friend and researcher. Thank you. So today we bring this episode to you from the Big Potato. All right, let's open a Foxy box and then we'll get to it. Want to start off with something fun and just know we're building the community. Yeah, tater tots. We're making tater tots, girlfriend. Yeah, Carrie, good to see you. Indy Isham, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Edith, thank you for gifting the Guilty of Crime membership. And like I said, stay tuned because we're giving stuff away at the end of the show. There's 440 people in here. Hit the like button so we can see how many people are in here. And thank you guys. I do appreciate the love. If you're not here to support, then don't be. All right, let's go. Let me open this real quick. My chair doesn't go that high, but there's the Foxy box. And we're going to be doing this on Guilty of Crime, giving stuff away. We're not selling these. We're not charging for these. We're giving them away to build a better community. All right. So there's my knife, you guys. It's an interesting knife. Look at that knife. Isn't that funny? All right. I don't know how I'm going to open this because Foxy sealed this like a mad woman. I don't even know how to open this. Oh, a knife does the trick. Sharp knives do the trick. Welcome, Linda and Bendy Wendy. Bendy Wendy, you won something recently, right? You won a t-shirt or you won something. Anyway, I'm just going to cut right through this box because I can't open it. Foxy completely like sealed this in. You know, when you have Christmas, you guys, when you have Christmas and your parents close the box so much you can't freaking open it. Well, that's Foxy. Foxy, when you get a box from Foxy, it's never going to come out. All right, so I'm going to open that here. You guys know what the Foxy box is. Mr. Thomas Karras got a Foxy box. Thomas, I hope you're here today. If not, I hope you catch us on the rewatch crew. All right, so Foxy boxes we're opening. Let's go. I think I got this down. We're all done with the knife. All right, let's do a Foxy box. And her email address, I believe, is... oh, wow, I do need a knife some more. Never mind. What am I thinking? Foxy's not going to do that without... All right, guys. Foxy is a one of a kind. I'm glad we have you, Foxy. All right, guys. And she just gifted a Guilty of Crime membership. So thank you, Foxy. You guys put your notifications on. So I got a cup, and I believe this cup is going to, when it gets hot, it's going to turn into, I bet you it has a potato. But I got to show you this cup, and then I'm going to show you what I got. I told you this episode is sponsored by potatoes. Jen the Potato Soto. Thank you, Foxy. I can't wait to see what that cup says. She's got this little like harness thing in here for the potato so we can strap the potato in. All right. And then there's all kinds of these little guys in there. Remember these troll dolls? There's like freaking like 20 or 30 troll dolls in here. I don't know where troll dolls are raining from, but they're raining. All right. Then I got this thing. And I hope I can open it, but it looks really cool. It's got a lock on it. And press the button. I don't know how to open this, Foxy. What's the code, yo? How am I supposed to open this? She secured this bad boy in, didn't you? What's the code, yo? All right, I can't open this without the code. I'll figure it out. I can't guess the code. It's probably 420. I bet you it's 420. Watch. Why would we do anything other than 420? Hold on, let's see. All right, it's 420, I bet. No, it's not 420. Come on, Foxy, throw me a bone. Yep, it's 420. All right, I got it. Yep. Man, you locked this bet. She double, triple locked it. All right, it's 420. The suspense is killing me too. I'm like, what? All right, no, it's actually 420. That's funny that you guys said 000. I usually lose patience, and when I lose patience, I do that too. I'm like 000. All right, so there it is. There's, oh wow, that was specifically for me, wasn't it? It says lesbians eat what? So nice of you, Foxy. All right, lots and lots of stickers, lots of troll dolls. Oh my god. She gave me a cactus peen, you guys. I can't even sit here and open all this right now, but I'll open. All right, so we got a cactus peen. I'm going to have to pull it out the next episode. I love beanies. There's the Rasta beanie. All right, it's a Rasta beanie. There's some avocados probably in here. And it's got a troll doll on it. Another troll. Foxy, you outdid yourself, girl. All right, let's see. There's all kinds of stuff in here. I'm raining trolls right now. All right, guys, I'm almost going to do the episode. Hang in here. Hit the like button. Look at this. It says, because I got high, then I got high. I was going to do my homework, but I got high. All right, guys, so there's a shirt, a beanie, some stickers, a lock thing, a cup. Foxy boxes on point. Thank you, Foxy. I'm going to try to get a picture of this stuff and then with the cup. I literally have these all over my chair, guys. Do you see what those are? There's a bunch of little penis things all over. I'm going to kick your ass, Foxy, but I love you. All right, guys, let's go. Now I have troll dolls and little penis things all over. So there you go. Thank you. I'm stepping on them. Ow. All right, let's go. All right, let's do this, guys. You ready? Okay. All right, I can give away a tumbler too. We can give a tumbler away after. We're going to give away some Foxy boxes. We're going to give away a tumbler. And we're on. Let's get to roasting Jen Soto. Yeah, penis confetti. My goodness, guys. You outdid yourself. All right. You outdid yourself, Foxy. Thank you. All right. That's now no one will ever ask what the Foxy box is for. All right, guys. So let's get to Confessions of Jennifer Soto is what he calls this. Truth revealed. It's verbal analysis, which is fantastic. I hope Deception Detective sees this. How did Please Miss Jennifer Soto explaining where they dumped her body? All right, let's get to it. Go subscribe to this guy. That's loud.
And now let's move on to where the body is actually located. All right, now this part is pretty cool. Figuring out what time the body was dumped, that was based on indicators. That was, we use timestamps. For this, we're going to do this a little bit differently. This requires some analysis. So while we watch the interrogation, you can see the interrogator is trained in the Reed interrogation course. Reed interrogation course teaches you to give multiple options or to phrase a question, kind of like this question is phrased here. Give me your top 5 places that you think or possibilities based on knowing him, based on knowing his path of travel. Where do you think that the body would be dumped? So what that does is it gives the suspect the ability to give a whole bunch of different answers. And what usually a suspect is going to do is they're going to include the actual place where they dumped the body in.
And I love that he's saying this, guys, because I've been saying this, and I use other channels and other resources, like when I talk to an ex-officer or let's say Duty Ron and Ed, it gives us a good idea of what indicators that the law enforcement are looking for, and just to reinforce what I've been saying, what Deception Detective's been saying. All right. All right. Let's keep going.
In one of those places because they had a solid rationale for doing that. And the person, as they're sitting there, the subject, is trying to sound credible. And there's nothing that you can tell them that's going to make yourself sound more credible than giving the rationale behind where you actually dumped the body. And so they'll oftentimes throw that in there, which is why he asked it this way, and why, when she doesn't answer it, he continues to ask this question 4 more times.
Wait, what happened? Did I like? Did it skip?
Is trained in the read interrogation.
Hold on.
Or to phrase a question, kind of like this question is phrased here, give me your top 5 places that you think or possibilities based on knowing.
Okay, yeah, I definitely skipped forward. So I was like, I didn't even hear that. Give me your top 5 places you think or possibilities based on knowing him, based on knowing his path of travel. Where do you think it doesn't have to be based on evidence just in your gut? Do your top 5 places. And this is where Jen Soto becomes psychic. You remember that? She knows the body was in the trunk. She calls Maddie the body. And then she tells us 192. How can you ever forget 192, guys? Patty Ward, thank you so much. I just found the guy the other day. He's great. Thank you for the super chat. All of you guys did too. All of you guys.
Him based on knowing his path of travel. Where do you think that the body would be dumped? So what that does is it gives the suspect the ability to give a whole bunch of different answers. And what usually a suspect is going to do is they're going to include the actual place where they dumped the body in one of those places because they had a solid rationale for doing that. And the person, as they're sitting there, the subject, is trying to sound credible. And there's nothing that you can tell them that's going to make yourself sound more credible than giving the rationale behind where you actually dumped the body. And so they'll oftentimes throw that in there, which is why he asked it this way, and why, when she doesn't answer it, he continues to ask this question 4 more times. What the interrogator is looking for here is for the true spot, the true dump site of the body to be worked into the answer here. But Jennifer Soto doesn't actually process this question the way that a subject normally would. And let's look at the way that she answers this and see if she gives us any indication of her thought process here. She says, I'm saying.
All right, guys. So Jen Soto is not arrested. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. We're looking to law enforcement to help with that. The only way that she's going to get arrested is if we have hard evidence. If they're building a case and they have hard evidence, they're not going to mess this up like Casey Anthony. So many of you guys sent this over to me. I didn't know about this until after, but yes, what he's saying is that Jen Soto explaining where the body, by the way, is dumped is a confession. So let's take a look at this. Go subscribe to Reveal the Truth, or Truth Revealed. I'm sorry, at Truth Revealed.
In this area, I have no idea. Orlando, Kissimmee, no idea where he could have taken her. His trip to Northport is weird as fuck. I feel like in Northport, he knows more people. He has more friends. There'd be places and somewhere that he could have stashed her. Okay, so from the beginning of her answer here, this is odd because through the entire interrogation, she is going to protect Stefan Stearns to her grave. You haven't really seen that from my analysis here, but in going through this interview, you get a very strong sense of that. So when she puts him on blast, when she says him going there is weird as fuck, that is putting a spotlight onto that location. This is the
right, going over it many times, and nothing's going to convince me at this point, you guys. Nothing is going to convince me that Jen Soto did not only know about where Maddie was and that she was not alive. That's number one. Number two, she absolutely knew what was going on between Maddie and Stefan, and I believe she just sat there and allowed it. Hence the reason why we call her the dumb potato, right? That's where she got the name. Welcome, Tamika. Good to see you, my friend. And yeah, they broke up a CSAM ring. I'm not surprised. All right, let's keep going. The puppet master. Let's talk about her.
Exact opposite of what the interrogator was expecting here. The interrogator was expecting her to minimize every location that she gives, or to maybe say this one seems more likely, this one seems more likely, but she's going to work in the actual location somewhere. Instead, she has a very different mentality here. To point the police in a direction, and Northport happens to be about 2.5 hours away. So she is pointing them as far west as you can go without falling into the ocean. So we get some insight into her mentality here. She is going to point you as far away from the body as possible. That means she's actually unlikely to give you the actual location when she's prepared to point you in one direction. And I say,
now we might go back and watch the first one of this, but it's brutal. The first one, this is part 2, because I want to talk about Jen Soto and when she becomes psychic and all the answers she gives us. And then I wanted to make sure that we had time for everything, right? So if I don't do that one today, I'll do it. I'm doing a new case this week. We're going to start the Mia Campos case. I also am going to go back to who's the little girl. Why is my Tiff? Who's the case that you talked to? Stormy. Okay, Kaimani Latigue. I'm talking to Kaimani Latigue's neighbor, and she knew Kaimani and she knew the family, and we're going to talk to her. We're also going to do another episode with Toddy One and another month of Corey Michelow letters, all right, to Christopher Greger. So that's what we have to look forward to this week besides Jennifer Soto.
Say that because she doesn't give the top 5 places. She gives one place. She says,
192.
This is where I think you should look. And that's a very different answer than saying, oh, it could be here, it could be there, it could be anywhere. So we want to follow her mentality. So let's look at the next time that she gets asked this question. So the question is, what is in your mind that you believe that is the ending of this story? The ending of the story is where the body gets dumped. So it's a different way of phrasing the same question. And she says, because 192 seems like a really busy strip, and I can't think of anywhere immediately, like other than going deep into St. Cloud, like passing St. Cloud, like going into Holopaw or Harmony, that I could see someone stashing a body somewhere around there. All right, what has she told us now? Because that's the other direction. So you can see on the map here where she's talking about. Now she's given us 2 clues. She says Northport. She says not St. Cloud, but way past that. Okay, so she's actually told us 3 things. She said, don't look here or there. Now let's see the next time she gives an answer. Jennifer, where do you think, and he's talking about,
come on, guys.
She says, but I would.
If you guys don't see this, if you didn't already see it, and I know that you guys did because I got freaking so many people emailing me this because you're like, whoa, we already went over this time and time again where she told on herself. There's no way that she knew all the things that she needed to know. And she stuck up for Stefan. Like I said, she wanted to be Stefan's wife, you guys. She was pulling the strings. She's the one that was like, oh, me. Don't worry about Maddie. Me. It's about me. It's about my meds. It's about how I feel. Don't worry about her. When you're 18, you're moving out every other week. All right. So let's keep going.
Never. Oh man, that's practically a confession. When you see would never, the word never is always suspect. But when you add would before it, it's just a straight out lie. So she says, I would never do this. And she says, my mind would say to go to Lake Toho. There's a lot of woods there. There's a lot of gators. If I knew anything, I swear I would tell you. Okay, I'm going to, first off, when you repeat I 3 times, it means you're lying. She says it 4 times. She repeats it 4 times. I.
Since you and like 10 other people sent it to me by email, by Instagram, by Facebook, everybody blew up and they're like, Jay, we need to go over this. But yes, you sent it to me too, Sid. But Jay, this is what Stefan Stern was doing to her. This is what Stefan Stearns was doing to her. Doing to who? Wait, what? Yeah, Jen Soto and Stefan Stearns. Jen Soto is right in the same category, in my opinion. I've been saying that from the beginning. And I wonder why the people that were subleasing from Jen Soto didn't say anything. How did they not suspect what was going on? Frank Shaw says 192 is definitely a stretch. Alligator Lake would be a place a child would choose because of the name. If the water were here, the Gators. Well, she talked about the Gators as well. Frank, what's up, Meatloaf?
I swear I would tell you. So she's lying. She wouldn't tell you. And now she's giving you another location. So look what that's doing on the map. She is spreading you way out, but she has identify an area where you're not allowed to look. She says, this is the area that is not likely. It's too busy. It's not here. But this statement, this really hurts me to see this, because as human beings, we want to try to identify with people. We want to try to think, okay, why would she do this? Why would she allow her daughter to be murdered? No mother would do that. Maybe she didn't do this. Look here. You get a glimpse of who she is here, because this.
And for anybody that asks, and I'm cool with you guys asking, I was posting this on the community page. I was posting about Jen Soto. I said, #arrest Jen Soto. And somebody commented on that post and said, I believe that they weren't trying to be condescending, but they said, why do you say #arrest Jen Soto? What evidence do you have? And I said, you must not have been watching my show, because I have probably 100 episodes that say #arrest Jen Soto. I've been saying that from day one. I've been saying the same things from day one. I've been covering the case since the beginning. And then now all the big creators are too. So, what happens? I get squashed down there. But if you haven't been listening to what I've been saying the whole time, I've been saying this. Yeah, the purple dragon. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, you can see it. There's the thing. We had a feeling, and we see it in the air, right? We see her lying. We can see her body language. We can see her verbal, what she's pushing verbally. But when you see it like this, then you're like, wait, what? Okay, now I see it.
This is an unprompted statement. There's no reason to bring up gators. That has nothing to do with this.
Exactly.
Unless she has thought about that already. And you get,
and she has.
I would never do this. So she repeats that phrase, which is an indicator of deception. She uses would never twice, which is 2 more indicators of deception. And because what she's saying is, I would never do this, actually what she's saying is, this is what she would do. This is what I would have done, is what she just says here. What I would have done, my mind would say, go to Lake Toho. There's a lot of woods and there's gators. What she wanted to do was to go take Madeline Soto's body to Lake Toho and feed her to alligators. And that is horrifying. Just the idea that a mother would even think that is horrifying. Maybe I'm overreacting.
It's actually not. You're not overreacting. None of us are. She knew. She said it. She pointed Stefan in the right direction of where to go. She even told us and the officers Stefan wouldn't have known where to go. He's not from around here. And then she says 192, 192, 192. I think we had a little pretend drinking game for every time she said 192. We were like, we should take a shot every time she says 192, because we should circle it every time, and then we can count it. Welcome, Rapunzel. Thank you for becoming a member. And then Jennifer Foreman. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see all of you here. I cannot wait until the end of the episode. For those of you that just got here, we're going to be giving away this new Guilty of Crime mug. And then we're going to give out some Foxy boxes. So for those of you that didn't want merch, or you don't like my idea of merch, make sure you're not here, because then we won't give it to you, okay? So welcome everybody. Good to see you. All right, yes, heaven has one beautiful angel up there, and that's Madeline Soto. All right, let's keep going.
Here, but this is tough. This is tough. I mean, trying to live inside of her head for a while is getting very uncomfortable for me. But there's one more statement that I want to show you here. So the interrogator asks her, when she's talking about Northport, he mentions that Stefan Stern's parents have property there, and he asks her about the property. So let's zero in on what she actually says here. She babbles for a couple of lines here, and then she says, still he had more. There would have been more spots in Northport for her to be dumped. She's already been talking for a while, and then she says, because from where you guys are told me that he went to St. Cloud, he went to 192. Could you guys tell me where he turned on any of these roads? It's that he was on the main road. I don't think he ever knew where St. Cloud was, because we've never.
Exactly. They didn't have any reason to go there. He never went hiking with them. Everybody from Florida, all the people that were from Florida, locals, all the ladies that I've been talking to, they even took a drive out there, and they said, Jen Soto lived right down the street from where Maddie's body was dumped. And if you kept going a little bit, you would find that. Also, if you look at Jen Soto's friend, it was right off the beaten path. However, Thomas Karras came along and found or saw Stefan changing the tire, saw something, say something, did something. And Cassidy, I want to send out a big prayer to you and condolences. I'm so sorry to hear that. Cassidy Mama says 2017, my teen daughter was missing. She was found 3 days later in a wooded area, deceased. Jen Soto is beyond words. Speaking from experience, all of her words and actions scream guilty. And again, prayers to you, my friend. Nobody should have to deal with that or live with that or go through that. So welcome to Guilty of Crime. And yeah, we're all praying for you. All right. Yeah. Everybody here, just mad love to you.
Ever driven down that way, ever. Okay. St. Cloud is like a 10-minute drive from where they live in Kissimmee. It might be a 30-minute drive. I don't know, but it's not far. And her saying that is such a complete nonsense statement that the interrogator looks at her and says, you live in Kissimmee, right? Like St. Cloud is literally right next to it. There's no possible way that he never driven down that way ever. Like, she makes such a distinctive statement.
She does.
That is just off limits. It's off limits. You can't go there. He wouldn't go there. You're not allowed to go there. So the interrogator notices that, but just never puts all of these pieces together here. And what do we know at this point? Well, we know that St. Cloud is off limits. We know that you can go east from there. You can go west from there. You can go to like Toho. You can go anywhere you want. You just can't go on 192 to St. Cloud. Now, she gives a little bit more here. She says, could you guys tell where he turned on? Like I said, you got to listen to what people say. I used the deception detection in order to determine where she's being deceptive. Then when I know what...
Yeah, we definitely are going to have time for the first one, you guys. The first one is brutal. So I got to say, trigger warning, this man is truth revealed, and he analyzes statements. He's like deception detective. All right, go check out his channel, at Truth Revealed. I mean, the next one is just even, I mean, it's more brutal. So I got to tell you guys, trigger warning, if something's going to trigger you, it's going to be in this episode and the next. And if you guys do want to win, you got to just hit the like button so that we know you're here. If we don't know you're here, you're probably not going to come up in the drawing. Okay. So yeah, Anna Fleming, my girl from Florida, spot on. Wait till you see the first one if you haven't. My goodness.
What area she's being deceptive about, I can piece all those things together. I can put these questions all together and look at what is she saying when she's painting this picture for you. And this picture that she's painting is an area where St. Cloud is circled and everything else is where you're allowed to look. And specifically, there's a road to turn on off of 192. This is before the body's found.
Right.
If you piece together all of the knowledge that she has told you that she has, and you look at the picture that she's painted for you, she has put the puzzle together for you, actually. You just have to look at it. So we now know where Madeline Soto's body is. Based on this statement, it's somewhere in St. Cloud, or it's on a road off of 192 that's very close to St. Cloud. We know that Stefan Stearns is the one who dumped her body, and we know that he did it sometime between when he left at 1 p.m. on Monday and when he got back at 2:30, so minus drive time. So in that window there. Now, what do we have left? Well, the last thing I want to show you is how I know that Jennifer Soto was aware of the sexual assault and the rape. So there's another question before this one where the detective is...
All right, and I'm going to pause this real quick. We already think that. I'm sure there was money being contributed, and I'm sure she provided that room to do that in. The space, like I said, there's so many indications that she gives us, but there's also a lot of evidence besides that. It's circumstantial, but let's see what happens. Let's see what they dig up. And Dawn, Grandma 3, thank you for the Guilty of Crime membership. You guys, like I said, trigger warning here. This one's brutal.
Asking her about their sleeping arrangements, and she's explaining that they all sleep in the same bed, and the same way that she explains that here. And then he asks her if she's ever seen anything, and she keeps slow walking towards the answer. And she says, well, there's times when they'd be cuddling, or, what she saw, she's trying to insinuate that it wasn't inappropriate, even though it was inappropriate. So we don't know exactly where that leads until we see this question here. So I'm going to play this clip for you real quick, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So when you say you had a rule, I guess I'm asking what prompted the rule?
Sleepovers.
Yeah. What prompted the rule,
like,
Jen?
You want to watch movies and eat snacks? Can we do that? I'm like, no. We can all watch movies down here together. We can all sleep down here together. Up until June, all the time. So we were always. She would sleep in the middle. I would sleep on this side. He would sleep on the other side. It wasn't until June that he got.
And I wonder why she left out. Now, another roommate said, 2 roommates actually. One roommate said she felt uncomfortable and she would leave her door open because she felt really weird about Jen Soto with Maddie and Stefan with Maddie in the middle. She felt uncomfortable, so she'd leave the door open. And then another roommate says she felt so uncomfortable, she called Jen Soto and said, hey, Maddie and Stefan are in the room together. I don't know what they're doing, but I gotta say something. And, oh, Jen, no, it's okay. They're playing video games or whatever. She didn't say any of that, did she? She didn't say that she got scolded by Stefan's parents that said, hey, man, you shouldn't be having your daughter. I mean, they scolded Stefan too. They said, Stefan and Maddie, you guys, she's too old to sleep there. She's not saying any of that. Oh, yeah, that one time we did. Yeah, Jen knows. Absolutely. She knows. She was in on it. She helped to direct him. She created her alibi when she did her blood appointment, and she kept everything within the house. She kept all the phones at home to make sure they weren't being tracked. She even kept Stefan's phone at home. She didn't let him have his phone, hence why he had to keep coming back to the damn condo. And he came back to the condo. I keep saying, why would you bring a body back to the condo? Because he didn't know where he was going. She said, go do whatever you need to do. Leave your phone here. You head down that way. Yes, absolutely, Jamie Cooper, 110%. And that's what we want. Damn straight. That's what we want. All right, let's keep listening to her.
At his own bedroom, and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
Okay.
And I kept telling her no. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that. But eventually, at some point, like we really want to watch. I forgot what movie it was. That
was a lot of no's.
And I was really tired. And I said, okay, fine, go ahead, but this can't happen often. Yeah, I left her to go upstairs and sleep with him.
And then her voice.
I allowed him to question how many times that's happened, and it hasn't been many times that I've allowed her to have a supper party with him.
And she's lying there. Her voice drops, you guys. And you know what? The police officer, the law enforcement would say is, Jen, you're wrong. When we look at these photos and we go back to see how many times there was abuse that was filmed, that's a lie, because where was she then? If she wasn't, they can see the blankets and what room. So where was she? Yeah, the puppet master potato. Exactly. Her voice drops when she lies. And sleepovers at her own house. Yeah, that's weird. She also says, I said no a bunch of times. Why would you say that so many times and then not happen? Now, she doesn't have total immunity whatsoever at all. All right, guys? She had a one-time immunity, and we still want her to keep talking.
Be alone in a bed with him. I'm usually around all the time.
Again, we have a question where timestamps play a role.
Wow.
And you can timestamp exact times, like on a clock.
And before he gets into this, I do wonder about the money, guys. They're going to be able to, law enforcement is going to be able to see what bank account goes where and who deposits and how it goes. I don't know how they're going to determine what was being sold or what was coming in from where. That's kind of hard to track, but they are going to see transactions from Stefan and Jen. Somehow money coming in, somehow money going out. I wonder what exactly that was from. I really don't wonder what it was from, but I hope the law enforcement does a thorough job.
Way that we looked at before, but you can also timestamp a month or like a calendar day or something like that. What we see here is she timestamps June. Again, when you timestamp something, it's seared into your mind. And so the first thing we want to look at here is, why is June timestamped? The phrase leading up to that, we have a triple repeat of up until. She says, up until June. That is so sensitive. It is so difficult for her to say that. She's explaining here that
They do, but I got to tell you, just Josie, Bitcoin doesn't, and many people use Bitcoin that are using the dark web. All right, so I don't know what kind of transactions they're going to be thorough. I just hope they really pay attention to that because there could be something bigger here. I don't think they were using Cash App and Venmo. I think it was more Bitcoin, and you got to remember, the state can go after her for lying income or her food stamps. That was one of the reasons she didn't want to officially get married. It's because she didn't want to lose her food stamps, her welfare, and her SSI. When you do that, you got to combine incomes. All right. So, yeah, I don't think she was using Venmo and Cash App. Just saying.
Up to this point, they've all been sleeping together in the same bed. Now, before we even look at this, we want to think, okay, they're all sleeping in the same bed. This is really bizarre that, first off, the Jennifer Soto doesn't allow Madeline Soto to have her own bed. She forces her to sleep in the same bed with her and Stephen Stearns. So why is that? We want to ask ourselves why. Why doesn't Madeline have an area where she's allowed to have privacy? That, to me, indicates that either she doesn't trust Madeline or she doesn't trust.
That's a good question, Frank, and I don't know the answer to that. Where were all the electronics and storage unit plugged in and powered on? I think Stinky Peen used it as a studio. There was a modem. Interesting. Well, many times then if there's a modem and it was plugged in, then I mean there's the plug, there's the power. I mean, you could just run a power cord. I mean, you could run a 100-foot you could run a 100-foot cord into your unit and power it that way. And yeah, why have Maddie in the middle? Why? That bothers me so much. And the roommate, it bothered her too, you guys. She would go in there, all three of them would be in bed, and Maddie would be dab smack in the middle with Stefan with his boxers on. Jen Soto probably was fully dressed at all times. I doubt her potato ass was comfortable enough to be dressed down. But yeah, why put Maddie in the middle? Why, when you hear that your boyfriend that you want to marry woke up with a wood? I mean, that just happens. That's nature. Why do that? I just don't understand. And that's the biggest telltale is what she's telling us. She's telling us.
Stefan, at this point, she's forcing everybody to sleep together in the same bed where she's present there. Okay, so let's see what happens here. And up until June, all the time. So we were always, she would sleep in the middle. I would sleep on this side. He would sleep on the other side. It wasn't until June. You see all this beating around the bush here? Then she double stamps June. And
Kathleen.
He got his own bedroom. And I sent him upstairs. She's telling you that was her decision. She sent him upstairs. She got rid of him. You got to ask yourself why. They're all sleeping in the same bed. And then at some point, this is seared into her mind. It was in June that she sent him to sleep on his own. And then listen to where this conversation goes from there. She says, that's where the requests for sleepovers started. Started is an indicator of violence and missing information. So she's telling you that's where her knowledge of the rapes started. And I kept telling her, no. I'm not comfortable with that. But eventually, now when she says at some point, that's leading into a whopper. This is a huge lie, a huge deception. Every time she says at some point, she's walking you into a huge deception here. And then she throws in extra sentences, some filler. They wanted to watch a movie. I forgot what movie it was. And she's sitting there. It's filler. That is extra information.
Right. They didn't do too well with their story of that night because Stefan talks about the movie. Jen kind of was standoffish about talking about what movie, which we all know is Sister Act. And then in the morning, the walking the dog. Stefan never walked the dog according to her, except for that morning with the leash. She tried to make it seem like he was like, oh, hey, babe, I'm going to let you sleep in. I'm going to be a nice guy and you can sleep in. Well, I take Maddie. Oh, by the way, where's the leash so I can walk the dog? Their stories weren't jiving on those two things that night and in the morning. Yeah, request for sleepover. But she said, look at all these no's. No. What? You had to say it that many times? And why were you even letting that happen?
Walking you into the huge lie, and then she gets super quiet. It is very noticeable in the video. I'm going to play it for you again right here.
Yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him.
In case you couldn't understand what she was saying, she says, yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him.
Yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him.
Now, sleep with him is a euphemism for sex. That's probably the most common euphemism in the English language. In fact, to say that you slept with somebody directly means that you had sex. It's not even always a euphemism. So she's telling you here that at some point after that started, that she just broke and she just allowed her to go and sleep with him. Now, in your mind, you're probably thinking she was being sexually assaulted and raped. That's the first, the question that you should be asking yourself here is, why is Jennifer Soto allowing, in her mind, she's allowing Madeline to go sleep with Stefan? That tells you that Jennifer Soto blames Madeline for this. Jennifer Soto sees Madeline.
Oh, I see her blaming Madeline. We all see her blaming Madeline with that text message we saw where she's like, you're going to move out when you're 18. And remember, when this is happening and they're fighting, Stefan's right in the middle of that. So the only maybe not love, just attention that Maddie was getting wasn't from her mom. She even said, you're a bad mom in that text message. Yeah, circus music plays in the distance. Kathleen, we can't wait until trial 2. Trust me, not evil, not wicked. Hey, Zarina, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, she does need to be charged. I agree. Let's keep going.
Madeline as a sexual rival, not as her daughter. I hope that sinks in, because now you have motive for everything that just happened. Based on her language, her emotion, based on everything about this statement, this isn't even deceptive. She tells you, yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him. Now, I want to show you. So this question comes right after that question.
All right. And before we go on to this, I got to tell you guys, Jen Soto came with her lawyer and she did that one-time queen for the day deal. And she's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to lie. If I lie, then it won't be used. It'll be used against me if she lied. But a good point is, how she wrote in her statement that she saw Maddie that morning, but then she realized after they found the body, she better not say she saw her. So she had to change her story after they found Maddie's body. They didn't know that this was going to become an international case and that everybody in the world was going to be looking for Madeline and that they would find her. So she's like, oh, I could just say whatever. They're not going to focus. She didn't, in fact. She did in fact see Maddie in the morning. I think she helped Stefan dress Maddie, and that's why she's so like, no, it was the black shorts. I also think she was trying to make sure the officers didn't know exactly what she was wearing. And I'm sure she saw Maddie after she was no longer alive. And I've always said, I think she's helped Stefan Stearns to dress Maddie, and then Stefan Stearns was the guy that was, okay, you've been doing this, you've had benefits, you get out there and you go get rid of her. I can't do it. I'm going to do this, this, and this. That's all I have to say. Let's keep going.
And it takes us further down this rabbit hole here. So she says, if I knew anything, I promise you, I would tell you. Would is a problematic word. Like, I'm willing to take a lie detector test, whatever the fuck you want. Whenever she starts swearing, that is extreme emotion. So she'll say that either if she's recalling extreme emotion or if she's trying to overemphasize emotion when it doesn't make sense. In this situation here, it clearly doesn't make sense. She says, whatever the fuck you want. So then she says,
she's getting angry.
I don't know anything. He's never mentioned anything. So that sentence, he has never mentioned anything, does not tell you what it insinuates. So the number one thing.
Now, DNA being on Maddie, it's not going to be there if she touched her or helped her get dressed. They weren't looking at touch DNA. And the crime wasn't bloody as far as I am concerned. There are certain areas that were, but there wouldn't have been like touch DNA from Jen. I do believe that she helped She pulled the clothes out, and she knew even probably watched out while Stefan dropped the crock in the room and went through there. But yes, it's a different kind of DNA, if you know what I'm saying, Psychic Amelia. Yeah, I do believe so. I do believe they're going to be able to justice for Maddie. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope that they're looking into that, because with 35,000 plus images, you guys, and we're going to talk about the images tomorrow on the Google Drive and the way that it's broken down in a different way that might not be so good. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
That we have to watch for in deception detection is to not believe what the person is insinuating. We only believe the actual words that they are saying. And so when she says he's never mentioned anything, that's the reason why we're never so problematic, because here she's saying that he has never said a single word about anything. That's literally what she's saying, which is literally false. And so this is a deceptive, misleading statement.
Yeah.
Then she says, I've never seen any signs. What she's insinuating here is that she hasn't seen any indicators of sexual abuse. She's never seen sexual abuse, but that's not what the words are saying. She said, I've never seen any signs. When somebody is being deceptive and they're insinuating something, the truth is the opposite of their insinuation. And so what she has just told you here is that not only has she seen it, but Stefan has talked to her about it. She is well aware of it, because she says he's never mentioned anything. So now we know that.
Yeah, why would he mention that anyway? She's completely being evasive. And when people do that and they word things in a way that we don't quite understand, they're doing it to draw from their own mind to say, this is the truth, because what I'm saying is the truth. Stefan never mentioned it to her. Why would he mention it to her? And why would she want to see those photos again and again? Because criminals want to see the evidence that's against them. She provided that room. She wanted to make sure there wasn't anything that was going to get her in trouble. Why wouldn't she? Sin, thank you so much for the 20 Guilty of Crime memberships. And shout out to Molly Enos. Love your lives. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I'd like to believe that Jen is innocent. Yeah, I don't think so. 904 people in chat. Who says Jen is innocent of anything? If you think Jen is innocent of anything, put a 1. If you think Jen is knows everything, put a 2. There's no in-betweens here.
She has seen it and they've talked about it. And then she says, I tried watching her like a hawk. Now, when you're hearing information, you're hearing somebody talk, it's too difficult to process every word that they're saying. We, as human beings, our brains are not fast enough to process every word. That's why I have to do analysis afterwards. I have to create a transcript and I have to look at everything, because we have to shortcut while we're listening in real time. We try to get a sense of what's being insinuated so that we can follow the storyline, so that we don't have to process every single word that's said. And people, when they're being deceptive and when they're lying, they take advantage of that. And so what does she actually say when she says, I tried watching her like a hawk? Let's think about that for a second. A hawk is a bird of prey. So when you're watching someone like a hawk, you are waiting to pounce on them, to kill them. She wouldn't be watching Madeline like a hawk. She would be watching Stefan like a hawk, because Stefan is the one that...
And she did watch them like a hawk, and she knew what exactly was in that room too. You guys, we heard her, and we're not even to that part yet, where she says the gun's in the top drawer. There's a 9mm in the top drawer. There was not much in that room, but there was a 9mm. There was a camera, a tripod thing there, and there was a giant thing of lube. There wasn't much in that room. There was white blankets, nothing defining on the walls, nothing on the dressers, but she knew where the gun was in the top drawer, where they confiscated a big giant bottle of lube and a freaking tripod. You tell me that woman is innocent, and I'll be able to tell you many reasons why she's not. That alone, if she was not watching Maddie like a hawk or Stefan, but she knew what was going on. Yeah, I can't with her. And thank you, Linda. I appreciate you. And everybody that's here, you don't have to have the same opinion I do to be here. You guys can be here, but just be respectful. If you got something that you want to say in chat and it doesn't jive with my opinion, because it's all my opinion, you can say it. Just don't come at me crazy, of course, because I respect you guys. I appreciate you guys. Cosmic says, I can't figure out why Stephanie and Juan are helping Jen. They were the only ones that seemed to care about Maddie. Yeah, that's interesting. That's because they're buying her BS. That's why. And they don't want their family to look bad. You guys got to understand, when you're a family, Hispanic families especially, but us, a family that's in the area that has connections, which her mom does, they don't want to look bad. They're not going to throw their daughter and sister under the bus, because Hispanic families don't do that. All right. Bree, Zach, thank you for the $2 super chat, not to mention the number in rooms. What the fuck, right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and I respect yours. You can have a different opinion. Just be graceful about how you say it, right?
She would be waiting for him to screw up or do something that she doesn't approve of, and then bam, she kicks him out, she murders him, she does whatever. But when you watch someone like a hawk, what she told you, literally, she's saying, I was watching Madeline like a hawk. That means, again, this is another indicator that Jennifer only sees Madeline as a sexual rival. When you put all the pieces together here, the entire picture is so disgusting that I just don't want to think about it anymore. So let me just summarize this and be done with this. What did we learn from this? We learned that Jennifer Soto, before Madeline Soto's body was found, before anybody knew she was murdered, and while Jennifer Soto was telling the public that she was still missing, we know that Jennifer Soto knew that there was evidence that would incriminate herself and Stephen Stearns in her house. That is a confession. We know that she knew when the body was dumped. She knew that Stephen Stearns is the one who did it. And we know that she knew where it was by narrowing down the map. And then the last thing.
And she certainly wasn't going to incriminate him, knowing that he can go right back and say, well, here's what happened to me. And she was pushing her daughter on me for years. She knew about the thing. She did it anyway. She sent her to bed with me. She knew what was happening. Instead of telling anyone, she rivaled her daughter. She was a rival. This guy is 100% correct. I couldn't have said it any better. She rivaled Maddie. All right. SBC says, when Jen asked Maddie, could have been a weird response. I have no effing idea where they could be. Or, I mean, I said, but he's here. Interesting. When Jen asked Maddie when Maddie could be, she had a weird response. I have no effing idea where they could be. Or, oh, yeah. She has a lot of weird responses. And then she catches herself and she uses wording that we don't quite comprehend, because we wouldn't word it that way. Hello, Stevie. Good to see you. All right.
Of course, that we know here is that Jennifer Soto saw her daughter, Madeline Soto, as a sexual rival, not as her daughter. She was blaming Madeline for it. She got upset and she kicked them out and basically sacrificed Madeline and sent the two of them to sleep together in the same bed. And then after that, things deteriorated. Most likely, it seems like from that interrogation, Madeline got pregnant, and then they had to talk about it that night. And that seems to be when.
No, what? Did he just say Madeline got pregnant? That I don't agree with. That one I'm going to have to say no.
Jennifer Soto and Stephen Stearns planned to murder Madeline instead of dealing with Madeline having Stephen's baby. So that is the whole story. I am going to.
Yeah, that I'm going to disagree with. And once the documents come out and trial comes out, we're going to have to say that's a hard no. But whatever happened, I'm going to say Stephen didn't want that to happen. Stephen had no reason for Maddie to go anywhere, number one. And number two, Jen had all the reason to not want her around. But I do believe that it was, even though they call it premeditated, I think the premeditation has to do with strangulation and having time to stop and think about it. And then all the meticulous things that they follow this. Well, there wasn't really meticulous. It was kind of sloppy, but I really want to know what premeditation is. I do think it might be the strangulation. We just don't know yet. Anna Fleming says, how will the rivalry be introduced in court? Jen on the stand with Woody Allen. That's a good question. All I could say is when she takes the stand, it's going to be all good for her when whatever side, I'm saying she's on prosecution, it's going to be interesting when the defense comes. All right, let's go to, we're an hour and 9 minutes in. We'll go ahead and run the first one. Like I said, guys, huge trigger warning because this guy uses words and doesn't edit himself, which I'm glad, but at the same time, YouTube doesn't really like that. YouTube doesn't like that at all. So it doesn't want to get in the algorithm. So here's the first one. We're going to go backwards and we're going to show her and then go over this just to get the complete view. You guys do me a favor. There's 983 people in here. Right after this, we're going to do a drawing and we're going to give away a tumbler and we're going to give away some Foxy boxes. So if you guys could do me a favor, hit the like button so that you could be entered into it. That'd be great. The wording here is not going to get in the algorithm very well. Let's go. It comes right off the bat hot. Warning, mature audiences, like way mature audiences only, right? And Terry, you're going to love that new tumbler. We tried to do new merch that was going to be a lot lighter and brighter and happier. So I got some that's like with the bloody guilty of crime, and then I got other more fun to give you a break from true crime. All right, let's keep going. This is rough.
Assault and rape as well as murder. This is true crime, and if you have a problem hearing about that stuff, again, this video is probably just not a good one for you. With that being said, let me quickly introduce who you're looking at. The woman on the couch here, that is Jennifer Soto. She is the mother of Madeline Soto. Madeline Soto was murdered overnight between February 25th going into February 26th of 2024. And the man that you're going to see, I'm going to put a picture of during this video, is Stephen Stearns.
999.
Jennifer Soto's boyfriend, and that is the man who of rape, sexual assault, and the murder of Madeline Soto.
Yeah.
So let me show you the video, and then I'll introduce this whole thing a little bit better.
You guys showed me the photos.
So we showed you photos of Stephen raping.
No, I saw a picture. I didn't see the rape. I didn't know she was getting raped until yesterday. I saw the picture of the oral sex.
Oh God, even the way she says that, I didn't know she was getting raped until yesterday. Even the way she says that, guys, I can't wait until he tears her down. Trigger warning with a potato head. I can't believe there'd be one thing without the other. I cannot believe that Stephen Stearns was doing that without Jen Soto knowing for 6-7 years. All right. And Donna, you're right. That's what I said too. How in the heck? There's so many other alternatives. 1,001 people in chat, guys. There hasn't been 1,000 people in chat since everybody started streaming this case. So hit the like button.
That's happening. Yes, he's done this to her, and that's not okay.
I showed you a picture. The picture you saw, she was giving a blowjob to a grown-ass man, and we were showing you our investigative lead being raped. The blowjob is great. Your first reaction is to protect Stephen. You were shown pictures of this. You were shown pictures of her body in his car with a seatbelt on. You know Stephen's been raping her.
I know. When you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff? Fine. I believed his whole story.
Yeah, you corroborated with it too. If he did this,
did I hear that right?
Yeah,
did she say she was fine with it? She was fine with her daughter being raped and sexually assaulted?
She sure did.
She was afraid that something evil had happened to her? Yeah. What I'm going to do is take a couple of these questions and I'm going to analyze them using deception detection techniques that I've mastered over the course of my career. Most likely, these are going to be techniques that you've never seen before, unless you follow my channel in which you've seen all of them. This interrogator here is one of the best, if not the best, interrogator that I've seen practicing in real life. And that says a lot. If you've seen my videos, I don't think I've ever said that I've seen a good interrogator before. He is clearly trained in the Reed interrogation basic and advanced course. He gets a ton of great information by asking good questions, and he continues to follow up. And what starts as Jennifer Soto's deception, which is clear the first time he asked her, the second time he asked her, she's under more stress. And then when he asks a third time, indicators are just pouring out of her. In this video, it's like I recorded a 4-hour documentary, and I am just going to give you the car chases. Okay, I'm going to clip out all of the storyline and just give you the action parts. That means you're not going to get a good explanation of why my deception indicators indicate deception. You're just going to have to believe me that they work. If you want...
Oh, we believe you. And Deception Detective has helped us. This guy's great. He's got like 49,000 followers. Truth Revealed. I love the methods he uses and how he explains it. Limited edition. Welcome. Your first time here, my friend. Hit the like button so you can get one of our tumblers. We're going to be giving that away, and it came out beautiful. So you're not just thinking about true crime all day. You can sport the guilty of crime and also have a little bit of fun too, guys, because we don't want to be all about that all the time, right? Allie says, "Hi Jay, I'm sorry I'm late. My daughter's ex. Oh no, lots to do. I didn't want to miss your fun personality and your beautiful looks." Well, thank you, Allie. I'm sorry about that. Prayers to you and your daughter. I'm sure your daughter's not taking that well. Love you, friend. All right.
To understand all of the deception indicators that I use, how and why I use them, when I use them, what their statistical probability of accuracy is. I'm going to put out videos following this one that are lengthy videos that I'm going to turn into the beginning videos of my deception detection and interrogation course. The 3 things that I'm going to show you using indicators during this interview / interrogation. First, Jennifer Soto confesses to being involved in this. Second, this interview takes place before Madeline Soto's body was found, and she tells you where the body is.
Yes,
she
she
also
does.
tells you when exactly the body was put there.
Yep.
The third thing that we're going to cover is that Jennifer Soto had knowledge of what was happening to Madeline Soto, the sexual assault and the rape. And she tells you exactly when she found out.
You know what sucks, Nat? They didn't ever show us pictures. They never interrogated Jen Soto. That wasn't an interrogation to me. What we're listening to is not an interrogation. As a matter of fact, I feel like they use kid gloves with her most of the time because they're like, oh, she lost her daughter, but they don't know how depraved Jen really is. Many people say that Jen was walking around with a hoodie and a sweatshirt for days after Maddie went missing and covered up her arms. Now, Stefan had a couple scratches. He said that was from the tire iron, but they didn't take pictures that we know of Jen Soto. There's nothing that indicates that Jen Soto has ever been a suspect, which is very interesting. Yeah, not an interrogation. It was an interview. They never interrogated her. The closest thing they ever came was when her lawyer came in, and I still feel like they used kid gloves, if you know what I mean.
And she tells you exactly what she did about it. You can have the best interrogator
Thank you, Graciela.
get all of the information,
Appreciate
but if
you, friend.
someone like me doesn't have a chance to look at it right after the interrogation, in this case, within 3 days, I would have been able to tell them where the body is, when it was put there, who put it there, and exactly who knows what and when. And keep in mind, Jennifer Soto has not been charged, and the police have said that they have no intention of following up any investigation or bringing any charges against Jennifer Soto. Let's start off by looking at a clip of Jennifer Soto confessing that she's involved.
That he was trying to log into.
Oh, he's trying.
emails.
So he's trying to log into his emails on his phone. I think at this point, when I noticed that forensics was locking down the house and you guys said we couldn't come back, I told him to call his dad because I had a feeling y'all knew something and it was going to come down on him.
The first principle of deception detection is simply to listen to what people are saying. It's important to understand that your brain has a separate section for language. It's called the Broca section. That section of your brain is not the frontal cortex. It analyzes your thoughts and assigns words to them based on the definition of those words. That is the reason why you can only think in truth. If you want to lie, you have to edit what you're saying. The first fundamental thing that we need to do is just look at the words that they're choosing, because some words people don't know that they need to change those words. What is the definition to know something, or that I knew something? When somebody says I knew something, I don't mean to sound condescending or patronizing here, but it.
Yes, that I agree with Frank Shaw. They absolutely should have polygraphed Jen. Chris Watts folded like a wet cardboard when they told him he failed. And the interrogator even told Chris, if you're gonna take this, if you're gonna take the polygraph, you better make sure you're not being deceptive, because we're gonna know right away. My suspicion, Frank, is that they just didn't have a polygraph person in that day, and they were trying to find Maddie. Think about it. They were scrambling to find Maddie. They were out there actively looking for Madeline Soto. They wanted to make sure if she was alive that they were going to be able to rescue her. They weren't super focused on Jen. They had just found out about Stefan because they took the phone. All right. So I think that they just didn't have many times they don't have a person that has a polygraph. What's it called? A polygrapher or something like that? They don't have one on site, or they don't have one. I don't know, but that's my suspicion, because she even said, I'll take a polygraph test, and she got all hyphy then. Whenever she gets all hyphy and whatever, she's getting mad, you're breaking through. And they didn't do that much.
It is important to look at the words that subconscious part of your brain select. If you're talking to your significant other, if you say, I suspect that you went out last night, you're telling them that you don't know if they did or not, but you believe that they did. If you say, I know you went out last night, there's no ambiguity in that statement. In the longer video I'm going to show you, when she uses the phrase at this point, that is called the deception tag. You're about to get a big lie. You're about to get a big lie. So she says, I think at this point, when I noticed that forensics was locking down the house, now at this point in her mind, she's trying to edit. There's something that she doesn't want to.
Wow, you guys. And there's a lot she doesn't want to talk about in this. I got to tell you that, folks. She's telling the officer, you know why she's telling the officer that she asked for a lawyer? Because those were in her text messages. So I got to tell you, after she right before she told the officer that, she freaking sent Chris a text message saying that, hey, they found something, get Stefan a lawyer now. Who does that wants to help the man that brutally has been abusing and their child for years? You'd be pissed. She literally, guys, and I'm getting this from the source, she texted Chris and said, get Stefan a lawyer now. Would you do that if you were trying to help solve your daughter's murder and the raping for years? Is that what you do? No. And then the only reason she told them is because she knew that they were looking at her phone and Stefan's phone, and she didn't want them to ask, so she cleared it up. Man, guys, I'm crazy.
To tell you right here. And while she's speaking, she's trying to edit that statement. So she's going to spill some verbiage here while she's consciously thinking about something else. She says, when I noticed that forensics was locking down the house and you guys said that we couldn't come back, she's thinking about this phone call with Stefan Stearns' father. She says, I told him to call his dad because I had a feeling y'all knew something. And she continues to talk and was going to come down on him. And I'm just like, they're focusing on the wrong person. Okay, I had a feeling that y'all knew something. If forensic knows something, it's very different than if they suspect something. An innocent, truthful person who's sitting there at this moment would say, I had a feeling they were locking down the house because they found something completely unrelated that made them suspect something. Because if you didn't have involvement, then you can't fathom why they would be doing that. And you have to speculate. Like, for example, my wife had to take an at-home blood test for something, and she had to prick her finger. And I told her, before you do that, you have to spin your hand around in a big circular motion to get the blood into your fingertips, because I do something similar. And she had just pricked her finger, and she's like, oh, okay. And she starts flinging her hand around, and there's a nice blood splatter trail that went down our wall. And I looked at her and I was like, great. You see this blood splatter?
And that is a weird thing. I'm looking at while he's talking, I'm not even paying attention to what he's saying, but I'm reading this and saying that she's literally is like trying to jive with the cops and saying, I had a feeling y'all knew something and it was going down. And then in the same breath, who in the heck would do that? She knew Stefan was the last person to see Maddie alive. Now, how do you know she was the last person? How do you know that she's not alive? How do you know she's not at her friend's house? But the last person, she even says, I knew Stefan was the last person. The last person to what, Jen? Boston, Chica, 1111. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Wow. She makes a lot of mistakes in here, you guys. And again, they need hard evidence, but this is pretty substantial evidence, if I do say so. Oh, I'm sure she was, quick to let Chris pay for the hotel and, hey, come down and help us. Stefan needs a new phone so I can have him at every second I need him. She wanted to make sure he had a phone so she can get in contact with the man that took her daughter's life and has been abusing her for years. Let's make sure I can get a hold of him. We don't want him to go to jail. What the heck, man?
there better not be anything that happens in this house anytime in the near future, because that looks suspicious as hell. So that's the kind of stupid stuff you're going to be thinking about if you're a truthful, innocent person, thinking, why are they locking down the house? What do they think they got? What are they suspecting? When she says, I had a feeling that you were shutting down the house because you knew something. To know it means that she is aware that there is physical evidence in the house. And the only way that she can be aware of it is if she was involved in it. She has to be aware of the details of the crime in order to be aware of the information that they could find. So this is the first example. Let's take a look at the second video here.
How do you feel when you say you need the lawyer?
He didn't believe me.
He didn't believe
When I
me.
told him, like, don't you see forensics is closing down the house? They fucking know something, or there's
See?
something, like, they know something.
She's trying to reword it. Who says that, guys? That gets me so heated. They fucking know something, and she's like, oh, wait a minute. I better not say they know something. Well, they know something. Like, I'm not sure what they know, but who says that? Nobody says that. All right, let's keep going, because I'm going to just go off, and I'm getting angry at her.
Something's happening. They wouldn't be locking down the house this way.
Yeah.
One thing I say continuously is that the statement has to scream deception. If you find one indicator amongst an
do
entire
something,
statement
yeah.
of truthful statements, that indicator is probably that person's brain
love this.
searching or thinking of something that they weren't sure of its veracity in that moment. And so it can cause a stray indicator to go into a statement. If somebody is being deceptive, it's going to scream deception. So because she said that, it doesn't surprise me that she's going to say something like that. Again, here's a different question. How did he feel when you say he needs a lawyer? This is a continuation of the last one. She says, he didn't believe me.
I didn't
And she says that in a question.
How do you feel when you say you need the lawyer?
He didn't believe me.
He
So
didn't
when somebody
believe
says that
me.
as a question, it means they don't believe what they're saying. Actually, look at this clip right here to reinforce this point.
We did a massive experiment in our lab where we had people play 2 truths and a lie with us. Overwhelmingly, one of the biggest patterns, there's a couple of different patterns, but one of the biggest ones was that liars asked their lie statement. Liars typically accidentally use the question inflection. The question inflection is when we go up at the end of our sentence. So it sounds like we're asking a question, even if we're actually using a statement.
Okay, so you see that what she says as a question means it's deceptive.
That's a good point, Microwave Cheese. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Even after she knew what Stefan had been doing, she still chose to support Stefan and not her beautiful daughter, Maddie. Incredible. And like I just said, she texted Chris in the middle of all of that, and knowing what Stefan had been doing to her and the police had told her, and she saw the pictures, she freaking texted Chris and said, get a lawyer now, and then come up. And of course she lets Chris pay for the hotel room because she's a freaking mooch, a drug addict mooch that should be in jail. But yeah, you're right, Microwave. She's nobody in their right mind that's not involved in that would do that. Cosmic Thrifter said, I love you, Jay. I just laughed my when you express it's driving me nuts. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto.
Like when I tell him, don't you see forensics is closing down the house? They fucking know something. Or there's something like they know something. She's actually pulling from a memory here because this is direct and this is straightforward. And you get an inflection of emotion here. When she says they fucking know something, she is panicking. Now, when somebody says, I was panicking in this moment, that's deceptive. We'll see stuff like that later. But when the emotion comes through in the verbiage, it's an indicator of truthfulness. So at this point, she is beginning to panic. And she's telling you that she was telling Stefan at that moment that they know something, and she repeats it. She says 3 times in here, they know something. She doesn't say they suspect something. She doesn't say they
she
found
knew
something random, irrelevant to this, and now we're going to get locked out of our house. An innocent person is going to be thinking, why are they doing this? What do they think they found? You're going to have a lot of questions. This emotion, this verbiage, this restatement of the thing that is the most prevalent.
And the worst part about it, well, the thing about the worst part is that the worst and the best part, you guys, is that Stefan and Jen could have never anticipated that this thing was going to blow up the way that it did, that we were all going to be laser focused on those interviews from the media, from the interviews, from the interrogations. They had no idea. So when you look at it in totality and you take it and you put that next to that interview and next to that, and you got this guy writing down every word and analyzing it, they could never have imagined that, especially not Jen the Potato Soto. So she was like, I can say anything I want and lie right here. Yeah, I saw her in the morning. Yeah, we dropped her off. Oh, yeah. Oh, write my statement. Oh, yeah. She never freaking imagined. Because in Florida, that shit happens all the time. You see someone on the news station, something happened, they died, and it moves on. She didn't know that this was going to happen. Nobody could have guessed. And yeah, I'd like to say, well, in fact, no, bitch, no. Sorry. All right, guys, let's keep going. Hit the like button. We need 1,000 likes here.
On her mind, if they found something, she knows that they could both be going to jail. That's what she's worried about. She doesn't realize that the word no is not the same as the word suspect. She also doesn't understand that the emotion that she should be feeling in that moment as a truthful, innocent person is different than the emotion that she's expressing. And so this stuff leaks out. She tells you that she knows in that moment, before anyone's been arrested, before Madeline Soto's body has been found, Jennifer Soto is still.
And by the way, the big thing, there's 1,111 people in chat. So I'm going to stop it for a second and say a prayer for Maddie that she gets complete and utter justice, which means that Jen Soto gets arrested and that everything is charged. It goes, obviously, everybody's prosecuted, charged, and Jen is part of this. Sunshine, you're absolutely right about that. One thing about that, and the reason why I'm so dedicated to talking to people that knew Jen and that knew Maddie, is because the way that she makes Maddie out to be special needs, not knowing how to get home, not knowing her address, not really having friends, not knowing their number, that, in my opinion, is probably a result of long-term abuse and her needing to be quiet about it. But I don't think that she was like that. Nobody wants to, once we hear the stories from character witnesses and people that say, Maddie wasn't like that. Why is Jen saying that? It's going to hurt what she says. And so that's why I want to talk to the roommate. I want to talk to Stefan's mom. I want to know about the dynamics. The only way we'll be able to compare these things is if we know what length she went to lie and talking this shit about her daughter, because she really is. Yeah, Maddie was traumatized. Maddie couldn't tell anybody because she probably told her mom initially, and Jen said, "Oh no, you're lying," or "Oh well, deal with it." All right. Yeah, let's keep going.
Still telling police that Madeline is missing. This is the confession. When I see the words, that's all I need to know. All right. So having seen the confession here, let's move on and take a look at a video here. Then we're going to analyze it. And I'm going to show you that Jennifer Soto knows exactly when and where Madeline Soto's body is hid in that moment. Because remember,
and just know, guys, every single person that knows Maddie, her friends, her the roommate, Stefan's mom, anybody that knows Maddie has said, I don't remember her having, like, if she was diagnosed with that, maybe she was misdiagnosed. She was not freaking autistic. Like, I don't know if they diagnosed. I'd love to actually see that, but I don't think that she was I don't think she was autistic. I think that she was covering abuse. What's up, Super Roro? And Deborah Myers, thank you. I love your snarkiness. No, bitch, loved it. You deserve this, Super. Thank you. I'm getting so heated because I really want Jen Soto to be arrested. And yeah, that's a problem. HIPAA, like I can't say Jen was in a hospital and it was these days. I know Jen checked herself into mental hospitals when she was overwhelmed or she needed her drug fix, but I can't call the hospital and verify it because of the HIPAA law. Just like Maddie, I can't call and verify that she was autistic, that they really diagnosed her with autism. We just have to listen to what Jen Soto says and then cross-reference that with other people that we talk to, right? It is true. I mean, Deb has got a lot to say. Deborah Stearns has got a lot to say about Jen Soto and Maddie and Stefan in the dynamic. She knows that she knows what her son is incarcerated for. She's not denying what Stefan Stearns is incarcerated for, but she does know the dynamics of Jen, Stefan, and Maddie and how they interacted and what she told them and what they told her. And she could bring that. And she's ready to tell you guys all of those questions you gave. Her and Chris are answering them. So I focused on the dynamics of Maddie's personality, how she was with Jen, how Jen was with her. I didn't focus on what Stefan's doing because we already know what Stefan's doing. He's locked up right now. He's going to go to trial. I want to know about Maddie and Jen. I want Jen to be arrested. All right, let's keep going.
At this point, Madeline Soto's body has not been recovered yet.
Later on, he tells me he's going to go back out, and I think this is around 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Still on Monday?
Yes, still Monday. 12:30 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He tells me
That's a good question. Did you guys know that? I didn't know Jen and Stefan shared a freaking therapist, you guys. Jen and Stefan shared a therapist, but Maddie wasn't in therapy. Why do you guys think that? Why do you guys think that Jen, Michelle, right now, when, right now, yesterday, tomorrow, just fill in the blanks on that. All right. So Jen, I would never be able to dig this up, by the way, if I didn't have inside information on it. Jen and Stefan shared a freaking therapist and Maddie was not in therapy. That was, in my opinion, that's because Jen needed to isolate Maddie. Imagine if Maddie went to the therapist and told what was happening or how she felt and didn't even mean to do that. Yeah. Like I said, Michelle, yesterday, today, probably tomorrow. Does that answer your question? All right. Absolutely. Let's keep going.
He's going to go back out. He's going to stop at a few gaming shops. And then he'll meet me at the house at 2:30. So
isolation.
At the house for a while. Just wait for 2:30 to roll around. 2:30 rolls around. And I'm already calling Stefan. And he's not picking up his phone. 2:30 comes. I leave. About 10 minutes later, I get a phone call.
Okay.
8 hours later.
So what you just saw there is one of the silliest things that us as human beings do when we're being interrogated or interviewed under pressure, which is called time stamping. That is not something that we do normally when we're talking in conversations to our friends or coworkers. We don't timestamp everything that we do.
No, we don't.
Why do we do that in an interview? Well, it's because we're under pressure and there are certain things that we are trying to do. For example, we want to give ourselves an alibi. We want to let the interrogator know or trick the interrogator.
Yeah, therapists are different than psychiatrists. I don't know. Sometimes people use therapist as a general statement versus a psychiatrist that can prescribe you meds. So I don't know. All I got was the words Jen and Stefan both had the same therapist. But Maddie wasn't going to therapy. Isolation, that's a huge isolation point. It's a huge isolation point that she did with Tyler. She completely isolated Maddie. That's why she was like, oh yeah, she doesn't have her friends. That's why she was checking Maddie's phone. She wasn't checking Maddie's phone to see how much she was talking to Stefan Stearns and what they were saying. She already knew that. No, I know. Therapists cannot prescribe medication. That is a psychiatrist. Only psychiatrist. I'm just saying, I only got therapist. That was the word I got. They shared therapists. That's it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you if it was a psychiatric or a psychiatrist or not. I just don't know right now. All right. Deb said she had a dream that a struggle happened because she walked in on them and a fight happened. She died. They were telling us without telling. I wonder about that. Yeah, she did say that, didn't she? She said that in the interview that we just watched. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, interesting. I wonder if that was a telling us or without telling or just kind of a mother's intuition after she knew Stefan got arrested already. She knew what was happening. Maybe that was heavy on her mind. And yeah, I don't know that Stefan directly told any of them anything. So yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Jen's just a fraud. She's a fraudster, in my opinion. I feel Deborah's caught between knowing her son is one sick son of a bitch, and she doesn't deny that. However, that is her son. Exactly. She talks about her son like a mother would. That's all I can say. So did Jeffrey Dahmer's dad. All right, Jeffrey Dahmer, Lyle Dahmer, spent the rest of his life trying to understand what Dahmer did. All right. Okay. In the dream though, whoever said that in a dream with Deb, she saw Jen with Maddie against the wall. I don't remember that. I don't know how to fill in the blanks, but I guess she said she saw Jen with Maddie against the wall. So maybe that's telling. I don't think Stefan just told her that, but I think it was heavy on her mind. She knew the dynamic, and in her dream she saw Jen doing something, and then ultimately it took her life, and then Stefan covered it up. Okay. Give her a deal, something extremely twisted or justice system. She ought to be locked up. Just as I agree, she should be locked up. Absolutely. That's why Jen Soto was pickup line. Yeah, I was in the pickup line 2 hours early, and when cars started coming, I left. She already knew. All right, let's keep going.
Into believing that we were at a certain place at a certain time, and so we start time stamping things. The only thing that a timestamp really means is that specific time is really important to the person saying it. So let me see if I can clarify this for you.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, Eve, real quick before I finish this. That's not true. I've heard from several people that Jen and Stefan took anything that they could. So no, I'm gonna say that Jen was wasted a lot of times. She was wasted. She wasn't able to work. She heavily took meds. So drug addict, I don't know if you're thinking of a drug addict like heroin or something, but yeah, opioids and anything she can get her hands on. I'm gonna have to say no on this one, only because I know people around her that say no. She was into making herself. You saw her. If you look at my last video, she was high as a kite. That's how she was most of the time, in my opinion, and from other people. And Xanax is not the only opioid. Remember that.
For you,
That's not even an opioid. Xanax is not. That's classified differently. Foxy, Xanax is what? Anyway, let's keep going. You can tell me in chat. Thank you, Microwave Cheese, for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships.
Give you a brief lesson here, just so that it's not so out of the blue. When a person timestamps something, it means that thing is important. So we need to figure out why they are stamping it. Once I have a clean transcript, first thing I do is I go through and I just I scan for times, and I will highlight those in red, as you can see on this document here. That is called a timestamp. And the reason why...
Yes, I think anything they can get their hands on. Xanax a benzo, so I think they were taking benzos, opioids, and any pills that they can get their hands on. And I think Jen Soto was the front runner of that, okay? When I say that, I mean she was like, I need to get it. Stefan, you need to help me get it. However, I don't care if we're selling naked pics. I don't care if we're selling naked pictures of my daughter or who. We need to get those. We need to get those benzos, those barbiturates, anything that she can get her hands on. Yeah, addicted to prescription medication is still medication, right? It's you could say prescription. If we take a prescription and it's by a doctor, it doesn't mean we're not abusing it. And in my opinion, she was abusing it, and she did anything that she needed to do to get her hands on that next fix. That's what I have to say about her. I've never changed how I feel about Jen Soto.
I'm looking for that is because those times are very important to the person who said them. There are, for the purposes of this video, 3 reasons why somebody would timestamp something. The first being, well, that's the beginning and that's the end of the statement. Don't ask me before this time. Don't ask me after this time, because this is the statement right here. That's a timestamp at the beginning, and at the end, we expect that. However, that does actually help us, because one of the things we're looking for is called a change of language. And so the first timestamp is usually accurate. So it maybe it's truthful, and because it's usually verifiable. Now, other than the beginning and the end of a statement, a timestamp is usually going to be an alibi statement or the time of the crime. If it's not the time of the crime, it's that person saying, I want you to know that I was here in this location doing this particular thing at this particular time. Knowing.
Yeah, timestamping is huge. When I first heard about the timestamping, I was like, oh my God, she's doing everything. And Yvonne, I'm just going to say Yvonne M. Thank you for the $10 Cash App. I don't want to say your guys' first and last names. So Yvonne M, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Tiffany, thank you for Reese, a glow in the dark tumbler. We're just getting the merch out there, aren't we? All right. You are a member, Alyssa. Someone must have gifted you a membership, and you are a member. So you guys don't forget, hit the like button. As soon as this video is over, we're going to give away some things. All right.
That I'm going to show you what I was looking at before I analyzed this statement, this document right here. So I got home around 10:30 p.m. This is Sunday night. This makes sense. That is verifiable information based on her phone records. So we know that this is a truthful statement. And notice she says around 10:30 p.m. When I say we're looking for a change in language, I'm saying we want to see how she normally presents information and then if she deviates from that. So now we have one example of a truthful statement around 10:30. The next time she says that she sent them to get ready for bed. So get ready because it was already almost 11 o'clock. Again, almost is one of those general statements. It wasn't 11 o'clock. It was almost 11 o'clock. It was around 10:30. I think that that's a truthful statement based on the way that she explained time in the previous stamp. Then she says, I went to sleep. I was awoken up at some time.
Right. I was
For the
awoken.
longest time, you don't need a whole lot of deception detection training to know that when a person overgeneralizes something, it's because they don't want you to know. When my wife asked me who I went to lunch with today, and I say, oh, we went to Burger King, they ordered.
That's mine. Oh my God. He's so right. You guys think about that when you like go out with your girls or whatever and you go have a drink and your husband's not like super okay with that. Just imagine how you talk. You just generalize things so you're not getting into the nitty gritty. That's what Jen's doing. That's what she's done the whole time. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense, you guys. I'm going to literally get a time. I'm going to get a fucking stopwatch. Excuse my language. I'm going to get a stopwatch and be like, okay, I got home around 10:30 and around almost 11, I've already looked at all her birthday presents. Maddie was so happy with her birthday presents. We counted her money. We did this, and this. But she got home around 10:30 and almost 11. They've done all that. I'm going to walk in the door, put a stopwatch, open a couple presents, count some money, see how your day was. I'm telling you right now, it takes longer than 25 minutes. Bullshit. Yeah, and Auntie Reed, that's a huge indicator too. She's pretty specific about certain parts. And then other thing, she's very vague. When somebody is very certain about something and they're like, oh yeah, I was 10:15, that's also an indicator that they're deceiving you. All right. Yeah, she ate a sandwich too. She ate a sandwich. She ate a pub sub. Inconsistent. She's been inconsistent.
Ordered just fries. I ordered the they in there that's not gender specific is gender overly general. And it's because you're covering something up. This is very similar. When she says at some time, it means she doesn't want you to know when she woke up. Then she says, I've been saying he woke me up at 8. However, she was caught in that lie.
She saw
now
Maddie.
We have a sample of.
She saw Maddie, but Maddie wasn't alive for very long. I believe she saw Maddie. I think she saw her, and then she saw her when she wasn't alive, and she saw her again when they dressed her in the morning to get her out of the door, or whatever time they dressed her, and then we're like, shit, we got to get her out of here, but we also got to get her out of here and then make it make sense. Oh yeah, special breakfast for her birthday, but we got to get out of here before the roommates wake up. I do believe that they saw her, Jay, because they didn't want the truth to come out, and they didn't realize it was going to come out so fast and so hard.
A lie from Jennifer Soto when she's talking about time. And notice this one isn't broad. It's not around a certain time. This one is very specific. She says at 8. So now we have a sample of what it looks like when she's truthful and what it looks like when she's lying. Then she goes on to say, I slept, I think, until 9 in the morning. Ooh. 9. That is an exact time. She also explains that when she woke up, the sun had just come up. I looked that up, and the sun rose on that day
at like
in that
7
city at 6:53 a.m.
Yep. When I heard this, I was like, wow, yeah, she's very specific. And then, well, when the sun rose, that's 2 hours off. Does anybody recognize what that time is in the morning where Stefan was getting Maddie dressed and getting her out of the door? Around 6 something, waking up everybody and then getting her out before people that's why that time is specific, because they had to get Maddie dressed and out the door before everybody came downstairs. So they had to be out hard stop by 7:30, no later. And they were like, oh, yo, we don't believe anything Jen says, but she's digging a grave for herself, in my opinion. That's what I think. All right. But she was strangled, strangulation, and then her hyoid bone was broken.
So we have actual conflicting information, but again, she gave an exact time, and we can see that, again, that's a lie.
Thank you.
So now we have multiple examples of when she's saying around a certain time, that's truthful. When she says an exact time, that's a lie. Now she says, I finished there sometime between 11:15, 11:15. She's talking about an appointment Monday morning. So that's truthful. The only question now we got to ask ourselves, why? Why is she giving herself an alibi timestamp for that time? So we'll make a note of that.
Because she didn't. That's an alibi.
I want you to see what I see. When you look at this, I see this next paragraph, and I don't even need.
All right. So there's this one part in her story, Tamika, where they talk about walking the dog. And when I say they, it's only brought up one time. And Stefan says he went in the room after supposedly he dropped Maddie off. He came back and it was before that. He went in and said, oh, honey, you don't got to get up, Jen. You don't got to get up, honey. Just give me the leash. I'll go walk the dog. You stay in bed. That leash was found in the car. There were two of them. There was one leash in the front seat and one leash in the back. It was like a lead. One of those leads. It's not really a leash, but it was tied around the front seat. Remember, Maddie was sitting up in the front seat, and I'm wondering if that was used to keep her up, because she would have been flopping around. All right. So that's what I mean by the leash. And I don't know. The birthday money. I'm trying to think about the things that Jen Soto says Maddie got, all the gifts she got. She says she got all these gifts and they were counting the money. But Maddie's friends say that Maddie was upset because her mom didn't give her the money that she wanted and she wasn't happy at all. So I don't know what gifts, because Jen never really tells us. Just like she never really says about the money, but we see an envelope on the bed that says Maddie's birthday money or something like that.
Need to read it. I can tell you right here there was a crime that happened, because look at the times that we have. We have 12:30 to 1, 12:30 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we have a double timestamp on a truthful time. It's a range of time and it's double stamped. Double stamping something means extreme sensitivity. That means either that's an alibi statement where that's a lie because they're saying they were one place when they were actually someplace else, or that's the time of the crime. Normally that would be the murder, but in this particular situation, she is the accomplice. So everything that she does to help Stefan Stearns get away with the murder is Jennifer Soto's crime, allegedly. So the part that she's going to be super sensitive about as being her crime is going to have to do with dumping the body. Once the body is dumped, then her part of this is over. The crime is over at that point. And so here we have a double stamp on what looks to me, without reading it, like either the crime or because the...
Okay, yeah, look at all those indicators, guys. Look at the 12:30 and 1. They're oddly specific. Now, I do wonder what they meant by, while we're talking, I'm like working out. I'm like, that actually wasn't a leash. Those things are called leaders, and they just look like a long strip, and they have two little like metal clasps. I can't say clasps. All right, metal. And thank you, Tanya, for the $10 Cash App. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. All right. So, Angie, good question. Jay, I thought dog leashes belonged to Deb Stearns' poodles. You're right, Ange. They weren't dog leashes. They weren't dog leashes at all. When I said that, I forgot that it was a doggy seatbelt. And they were, according to Deb, the doggy seatbelts were in each car. They had 3 of them. So that was not in fact put in there. But I wonder why. I keep wondering why they had he kept bringing up the dog and taking the dog potty and telling Jen to go back to bed. I wonder if that was part of the alibi so that she could say she was still sleeping when Stefan left. So you're right. They weren't dog leashes. They're called like leaders, but I guess those ones were the doggy seatbelts. And according to According to Deb, she says the cars all had 3 of them in each car at all times. So I'm not sure what the significance was. I'm pretty sure Stefan buckled her in. Maybe he didn't use that. I don't know. Valley Babies, welcome. Thank you for becoming a new member. All right. Appreciate you. Let's keep going. We got some giveaways.
Next one that we have is 2:30, 2:30, 2:30, 2:30.
Right?
So damn.
All right,
I'm
this
gonna
is
say
a
the
mic
crime
drop.
started somewhere between 12:30 and 1 and ended at 2:30. So let's look at this. Let's actually read
Thank you
this
for the super
and
sticker.
see what we're looking at here. So she says
Appreciate
he's
you.
going to go back out. She's talking about Stefan Stearns. And I think this is around 12:31. And then the interrogator says Monday, and she says, yes, still Monday. Now she doesn't repeat herself because she was interrupted. She repeats and rephrases. She says, still Monday, 12:30 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So she double stamps this. And because she's talking about Stefan Stearns leaving, that indicates to me this is the beginning of the crime in her mind. Then she says, he tells me he's going to go back out. He's going to stop at a few gaming shops. That's the rehearsed statement there. And then he'll meet me at the house at 2. So and then this part cuts out, so I couldn't tell exactly what he said. Something about can pick up Madeline together. He left the house for a while. Then there's a missing I. There's a missing pronoun from this.
And you guys don't even have to read this to see what she's got. 2:30, 2:30, 2:30. It's like the 19 or the 90. What is it? 192, 192, 192. Have a drinking game every time she says 2:30. This is a mic drop if you haven't heard this. Thank you, Ducky, for the Guilty of Crime membership. Whoever got that membership, I hope that you guys really enjoy it. All right, let's keep going.
This next statement, which is a huge indicator, was waiting for 2:30. Ooh, bam, double stamped. To roll around. 2:30 rolls around. Oh, triple stamp. And I'm already calling Stefan and he's not picking up his phone. 2:30 comes. Quadruple stamped. I leave about 10 minutes later. I get a phone call. Okay. The time that Stefan left until the time he came back is the time in Jennifer Soto's mind that the body was dumped. That is in her mind what the crime is, and therefore that this is the time that it happened. This is all the timestamps in the entire statement.
And by the way, what mom says that, you guys? I don't think any mom says body dumped or calls your baby girl, your one and only daughter, a body that got dumped. I mean, she definitely is distancing herself greatly from Maddie, her daughter, and the whole thing that happened. Good to see you, Missy Free Spirit. It's been a while. All right. I'm that girl. Woohoo! Giveaways are about to happen as soon as we're done with this, which is like another minute.
So let's look at the rest of these. At 4:04, the bell rings. 4:10, she's still not out, or
Tanya,
4:09. And then at this point, so she gives us a running timestamp here for the 4:04, 4:10, 4:09. Most likely something else. There was another crime that happened here. And then the last timestamp that we have is getting in when they got to the hotel. She says it was 3:30, 3:45 in the morning, and I fell asleep. Stefan was already asleep at this point. We find out later he was not asleep. He drove to North Point, which was 2.5 hours away. He went to a storage unit there, did some stuff, and then drove back. And so this is timestamped. That was another part of the crime right here. So timestamping is almost always directly related to the crime. And when you see 3 or 4 timestamps, I can tell you right here, this is where the main event of the crime happened. And the main event, of course, was dumping the body.
That's interesting. I wonder if that was the main event. Chat's on fire. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thanks for all the likes, the new members. You guys are killing it. Let's not use that. Someone said that on Turtle Island. They said, let's vote for Jay from Guilty of Crime. And Dolly said, for what? And just said, killing it. And he said, you might want to rephrase that. All right, so let's do this. Let's drop that down. Thank you guys. I think we've spent 2 hours understanding what in the heck Jen Soto, trying to figure out what she's thinking, knowing that they should arrest her. All right, hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Kimberly Mann, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. Yeah, Jen has no empathy. She's out to lunch and needs to be charged, and she tries to use it as an excuse that she's drugged up or dosed up. But guess what, Jen? We know better. We know that people that take their regular medication as needed, as opposed to that, we're not just hanging there like this all the time, because that means you're taking too much. All right. You guys know that you guys build a tolerance to your medications, and your tolerance keeps you level headed. Doctors don't prescribe you pills so that you can walk around like a potato. They do it so that you can function. All right. All right, let's do this, you guys. I'm gonna give it one more chance. Make sure you hit the like button, and if you have, I think you has to be a member, right, girls? Okay, Foxy, where are you? Because you guys want me to do a giveaway, and I don't know. I guess I'll start with the first one, which is the tumbler. All right, I guess it's the tumbler, and I don't know where all the mods are. Foxy, where you at? Okay, so I'll do the tumbler first. I think you have to be at least a member. What are we doing here? All right, I'm just gonna do it and then hope you guys are a member. I know Foxy says okay, so Tiff says however you want. For the first one, I'll give it away to anybody that's in chat right now and that's here. And then the next one for Foxy boxes, you gotta be a member. All right, let's play fair with everybody. We'll play fair with everybody. Make sure that we give you an opportunity. Okay. All right, let's go with the first one. Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Let's do that tumbler first. Continue, and then the next one you have to be you have to have a membership to win. First one, no. Second one, yes. All right. Okay, then there's a bobble, then a bundle. All right, so there's a Venus helmet. I've never seen a Venus helmet here ever. So Venus, if you're here, Venus helmet, if you're here, you won a guilty of crime mug. If you're not here, I'm gonna respin it, and then the next one's gonna be a Foxy box bobble, and then a bundle box. So first to the bundle and then the bobble. Okay. All right. So that's going to be this one. Is there a Venus, guys? If not, I'm going to spin it again. Microwave Cheese, thank you so much for gifting the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. Now you guys got even more of a heads up. You got even more of a heads up. All right. So is Venus in here? Venus. All right. I'm going to spin it again if I don't hear from Venus. Congratulations, Venus Helmick, but I've never seen her. And thank you again for the Guilty of Crime memberships. Yeah, I don't see them either, so I'm gonna have to do another one again if Venus comes back. But otherwise, you got to be here to win. I don't know a lot of you guys, and I've never seen Venus before. So that being said, she might have just come in here real quick and been gone. So I can't do anything with that. Let's do it again. This one, you don't need a membership, but the other ones you do. All right. Let's go. Too bad Thomas isn't here. All right. And what happened? Confirm. Start. All right. Let's see. You guys see it? Okay. All right, guys. You want a membership? Just joined. Yay. We got 5 more Guilty of Crime. Microwave Cheese and Cleveland and Zurus. I've seen a Cleveland here, but I don't know if Cleveland's here. Cleveland and Zurus, are you here? Yeah, it's hard when you're not a member because I don't know how to look up. I can't look you guys up. I cannot look you guys up. Oh, you said Venus is here? Okay, I see Cleveland. Cleveland's here. Okay. I didn't see Venus. I'm sorry. All right, so let me do this. I got Cleveland and Honduras. We can where we go. I'm gonna do this then. Foxy, can we give away one of them? Can we do okay, let's do this. I'm gonna do it this way. guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com for Cleveland and Venus. Go ahead and send that over. I'll work it out with Tiff. Cleveland's here, but Cleveland, you gotta email guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com and Cleveland and then Venus. Go ahead and email Tiff. I'll have Tiff give you something. I'll talk to her behind the scenes. We got plenty of freaking merch. All right. So now we're going to go on to the next one. You guys got to, for this one, it's members only. All right. Bobble, bundle, and a box. Okay. Bobbles anyone and bundle anyone? That's a lot of giveaways. Are you sure you want to do that all in one day, Foxy? All right. If everybody's here, I just had my heart stop 2 weeks ago. Well, that's not good, Cleveland. You need something. You need a mug. So we'll go ahead and we'll get you something. All right. Cleveland and Venus, please do me a favor and send that over to guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com and we'll get you. I see Venus is here. Venus and Cleveland. Send an email to our merch girl. She'll take care of you. I'll work it out. Thank you so much, Charlie May, for the $4 super sticker. All right. Now it's members only. Okay. Foxy said bundle, but I think we should do members only. Foxy, you said that already. So I'm going to do that. Let's go back here. Let's go to the winning app. You want to do, okay, so we'll do one bobble, anyone, and then the bundles we'll do. Okay. Let me go back. This is not as easy as I'd like it to be, but okay. It wants me to log in every time. And we're off. All right, guys. Next one coming up. This is the bobble, and it could be anyone. Bobbles, anyone. And this goes to a different email, guys. And thank you again, Charlie May. Appreciate it for the $4 pound. Lady Justice became a new member. Oh, you got lucky, Meatloaf Creep. Meatloaf Creep. You won a bobble, a Foxy bobble. And where does that go to, Foxy? I need your email address. I forgot what your email address is. So there's one, and I don't think Meatloaf Creep is a member, but Meatloaf Creep could win the bobble, the Foxy bobble. Okay, there it is. Meatloaf is a member. Yes, we want members to get, we want you guys to get extra things because you support the channel. So thank you. All right, so Meatloaf, first winner for the bobble. If you can email, I'm going to keep this down there, guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. We know Venus is here. Venus is going to email the other one, Tiffany's email. All right. And that's the merch, guiltyofcrime.merch@gmail.com. Foxy is guiltyofprizes@gmail for the bobble. All right, we got two more, guys. Two more, and then I'm out of breath. All right, I'll be out of breath by then. I can't talk anymore. All right, let's load the comments up. Hit continue and confirm. Now this is a bundle and then a box. A bundle box and then a box. Foxy box. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You can still hit the like button on your way out. All right. Okay, Gina, Jeana, Is she a member, though? The only way we're going to know she's a member, Foxy, is if she comes up. I can't tell behind the scenes. So there's a Geana, Jeana. Is there a Gina, Jeana in the house? If not, I'm going to keep going. We'll give it a second. All right. I don't even know if she's a member. I can't tell on that giveaway. Does anyone see Gina? All right, let's give it she's not a member. Okay, then I'm going to run it again. Foxy, you got to tell me what you want to do. Is Gina still in here? Okay, One Love just became a member. Thank you, One Love. Oh, Gina is a member. Yeah, she is. There you go. Gina, you won a bundle, a Foxy bundle. All right. That's guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. All right. Last one. Box members only. A Foxy bundle. All right, guys. We just love giving away merch around here, don't we? All right. Let's go. Let's go back. We got one more winner, guys. Hit the like button. What last one? This is like the main prize. All right, last one. Guilty of crime. Let's go. All right, let's go. And if you guys get completely confused, you guys can just email guiltyofcrime@gmail.com. All right. But otherwise, send it to the merch and send it to the guilty of prizes. I know Wendy Sides. Wendy Sides just won. I think Wendy Sides has won before. Wendy, you are the new owner of a Foxy box Supreme. We'll call it that. Foxy box Supreme. Here we got Wendy Sides. We got Gina. I can't remember the other one. We got Venus. We got Cleveland. All right. We got 5 people that won today, you guys. Woohoo. Congratulations, everybody. All right. I'll pull this down. I want to thank everybody for being here. Everybody that supports the channel. Everybody that's gotten merch. Thank you guys. Send me pictures. There's 999 people in chat. I'm going to say a prayer for Maddie that she gets complete and utter justice. And congratulations to the lucky winners. All right. And thank you, Foxy, for everything that you do. Thank you for the Foxy boxes. Love and light to you, Carrie. Melissa Johnson, I'm sorry you never win. That sucks. And Tiff, just message me and we'll give something out to Cleveland, and we'll give something to, we'll talk about it behind the scenes. Congratulations to everybody. Hit the like button on your way out. We appreciate you for your love, support, and remember, stay positive, be nice. If you're not here to support the channel, then don't come. You don't got to tell me you're not going to come. Just don't show up. I don't need to know. I don't need to know that you don't like me. It's none of my business. All right? Peace out. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Stay safe. I'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?